Well, newly released video reveals stunning details about a serial killer's double life. Todd Kohlhepp confessed to murdering 7 people. He also explained how he kept a woman in captivity for 2 months inside a shipping container.
David Begnaud has been following this story for 48 hours. He takes us back to the scene of the crime.
The crime scene was dark and unimaginable.
How are you, honey?
A young woman with a chain around her neck kept as a sex slave inside of an isolated storage container.
Is both feet?
Just one.
Let me see.
It's attached to a chain on
Okay.
the wall, and my neck's attached to the wall up here.
Here's this girl chained up like a dog in the back of a container.
All right, we're gonna get you out, sweetheart, okay? We'll get it off here. Cut it right here.
Did I just step into Hollywood on a movie set?
This bizarre and frightening story began Labor Day weekend, 2016. 30-year-old Kayla Brown and her 32-year-old boyfriend, Charles David Carver, went missing near Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Do you know where your buddy is?
Charlie?
Yes.
He shot him.
Kayla and Charlie had been doing some cleanup work for Todd Kohlhepp. He was a local realtor who was held in high esteem, even by the sheriff, Chuck Wright.
He did his job super good.
If you wanted to buy a house, to see someone you'd have called?
Well, heck yeah, I would have.
But Kohlhepp, a registered sex offender for a rape he had committed as a teenager, was living a double life.
We're gonna step you out, sweet.
After her rescue, Kayla was rushed from the scene into an ambulance. There, she began talking about her 2-month imprisonment at the hands of Todd Kohlhepp.
What did Todd do while you were there?
We would get there between 1 and 3 o'clock every day, take me up to the main building, beat me, make me do whatever he wanted sexually, and then he'd put me back in the building.
It's okay to cry. You've been through hell.
Kayla survived her ordeal, but 7 others who encountered Todd Kohlhepp did not. And in hours of candid confessions, he detailed those murders for police.
Shot him twice in the chest.
Okay.
He dropped forward. I went around him and put another one through his spinal column.
These confessions of a serial killer's journey into darkness sometimes border on the surreal.
My golf game is weak. My kill game is strong.
I wonder what a mother says to a son after he tells her, I killed 7 people.
Oh my God. That's what she said. And she experiences hurt that she's never experienced in her life.
David, how was Kayla Brown able to survive after being locked up for 2 months?
Well, you know, it's interesting. You're going to hear from a psychological expert in tomorrow night's special who says that Kayla Brown was manipulating Todd Kohlhepp for her own survival. She was doing what she needed, telling him what she needed to tell him in order to keep herself alive. And Kohlhepp would take her out twice a day for 2 reasons: sexual abuse and food. But as time went on, she started to ask for the creature comfort items like a book or something to listen to music. And he agreed. He'd even take her riding around on his 4-wheeler. But at the end of the day, she wound up back in the container and back with that chain around her neck.
It's incredible, David, the fact that Kohlhepp had this double life. What more do we know about that double life?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that surprised me the most is the sheriff talking about what an upstanding guy he was. When I asked the sheriff, hey, if you were looking for a house, would you call him? Well, yeah, sure would. I think the upstanding part about him is part of the reason why when they arrested him, Todd Kohlhepp had 2 requests. He wanted to call his mom. The sheriff said sure. And he wanted to donate money from his bank account to his girlfriend's account to help pay for his girlfriend's daughter to go to college. And the sheriff said sure. The sheriff was being incredibly nice in the beginning, and I think it was based on the, you know, Todd was a pretty upstanding guy. And listen, we live in a country where people are innocent until proven guilty, right? But the sheriff also knew that Todd Kohlhepp was about to reveal a lot that was going to shake people to their core.
And speaking of his mother, David, I mean, to interview the mother of a serial killer, I understand she has since passed away. Can you describe, David, what that interview with Todd Kohlhepp's mother was like?
To be honest with you, it was a balance for me as a journalist, because you don't want to take advantage of a woman who had nothing to do with this crime. but you want to ask her the questions that everybody is wondering, starting with, what did your son tell you? Now, when we sat down at the sheriff's department, because by the way this interview happened is for 2 days we tried to get her to talk and she wouldn't. And she showed up at the sheriff's department and she started yelling and telling us to put our cameras down, and the sheriff said, wait a minute, here's a guy you can trust. And she looked at me and she said, let's go talk. And we sat down and I didn't know what she was going to say. And she looked at me and she said, he did it. And she proceeded to detail everything he said for the next 25 minutes.
Fascinating, absolutely fascinating report. David Begnaud, we look forward to watching more of this on 48 Hours this weekend.
Yeah, and the full report, Serial Confessions, is part of a 48 Hours, a double feature tomorrow night. It begins with The Accidental Husband at 9, 8 Central, only on CBS.